In this lesson, we will divide polynomials, but we'll use synthetic division as opposed to long division. Synthetic division tends to be easier than long division. I suggest only using it when your value, your coefficient in front of the x is 1. Otherwise, you're going to have to do some crazy work with fractions. I didn't include any where you'd have to use fractions in this video, but you certainly can, so I can show you that another time if you ask me to. So synthetic division is easier because we get to sort of take the x squareds and the x to the thirds and all of that out of it. I'm only worried about the coefficients, which is of course the number 1 and negative 13 and 46 and negative 49. So what I'll do is I will take this value and I'll make it the opposite value. So essentially I'm setting x minus 8 equal to 0 and solving to get x is 8. So 8 is the value that I'm using. Now if this is a 1, it's always just the opposite of this sign. So negative 8 becomes a positive 8. I'm going to put that value in a box all by itself. Next to that, I'm going to write the coefficients. Again, just like I did on my last one, start with the highest degree and work all the way down. So x to the third has a 1, x to the second has a negative 13, x to the first has a 46, 46, and x to the 0 has a negative 49. So notice I've kept the signs in there, and I'm not bothering writing the x to whatever power. I'm leaving one line of space right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a box on the other end. So we always have a box at the very beginning and a box at the very end. Whatever happens in this box is a remainder. So to start, I always just bring down the first value. Every single time the first value comes straight down. From here, anything that falls below the line will end up being multiplied by this value. Anything that's above the line, you're going to add to the value above it. So let's try. 1 is below the line, so 8 times 1 is 8. And now I'm going to add negative 13 plus 8, which is of course negative 5. Negative 5 is below the line, which means I multiply it by 8. 8 times negative 5 is negative 40. Negative 40 is above the line, so I add it to 46, which gives me positive 6. 8 times 6, because it's multiplication below the line. 8 times 6, 48. 48 plus negative 49 is negative 1. Now it seems that we didn't actually do anything, but what we did is we did some division. To find my answer, I take whatever this degree is and I decrease it by 1. So this is the coefficient for x squared, so it's 1x squared. This is the coefficient for x, which is 1 less than that, so minus 5x. This is the coefficient for the constant, so plus 6, and whatever's in the box is my remainder. So minus 1 over x minus 8. This is my solution. So the other way to get that solution is, of course, to do long division, which would have worked also. I like this way better. Again, I think it's easy, especially when there's a 1 in front of your x value on what you are dividing by. Let's try another. Again, I'm going to use the opposite of this, so I'm going to say if I set x minus 3 equal to 0, x would be positive 3. That's the value that goes in the box. Then I'm going to start with my coefficient of 1, because that's x to the 5th, minus 3x to the 4th. This one should look familiar, by the way, because we did this one with long division. So once you're done, you can go back and check to see that you got the same answer. Minus 3x to the 4th, I have 0x to the 3rd, 0x to the 2nd, 12x to the 1st, negative 33 as your constant. Leave that one line of work and then put a box at the end. The first term always comes straight down. Then remember, anything up here gets added, anything here gets multiplied. So 3 times 1 is 3, negative 3 plus 3 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0, 12 plus 0 is 12. 3 times 12 is 36, negative 33 plus 36 is positive 3. So on this one, I'm starting 1 less than this, so this would be x to the 4th. It would be 0x to the 3rd, 0x to the 2nd, 0x to the 1st, plus 12. And then my remainder is positive 3 over x minus 3. This is the same solution that I got when I did it with long division. I think this is easier. Here's one for you to try on your own, so try this question and then press play to check your work. So for this particular question, I can use synthetic division, again because there is a 1 in front. What I notice about this, however, is that these two values are in the wrong order. So when I'm writing my coefficients, make sure it's third power, then second power, then first power, then 0 power. So I'm going to use my negative 10 inside the box, which I get when I set x plus 10 equal to 0. I'm going to use 3 for the x cubed, 25 for the x squared, negative 48 to the x to the first, and 20 for the x to the 0. Leave a line underneath, put a little box over here for my remainder, and then I know that anything above will add, anything below will multiply. Start by bringing the first term straight down. Negative 10 times 3 is negative 30. Add that to 25, I get negative 5. Negative 10 times negative 5 is positive 50. Add that to negative 48, I get 2. Negative 10 times 2 gives me negative 20. Add that, I get 0, which means a remainder of 0, no remainder. That means that x plus 10 is a factor. So what's left over when I divide by x plus 10? I would have 3, 1 less than this, so 3x squared minus 5x to the first plus 2. Now, if they asked me to write this as a product of factors, I would say x plus 10 and then 3x squared minus 5x plus 2, and I would probably check to see if that could be factored further, because that's what I would want to do if they really wanted me to write it as a product of factors.